welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Yeah, I know, no hat, right? So if your money was on Skullet, you were wrong. No, I've got plenty of hair. In fact, I've been kind of letting it grow out. The reason for the hat was mostly because I started this channel during the pandemic and I really needed a haircut when I started it because I had like a really just messed up looking head. And then I got a wild hair and decided to just shave it all off. So I've been letting it kind of grow for about a year now. And I'm at a point where I'm pretty comfortable with it, so the hat might not be making an appearance anymore. We'll see how that goes. Alright, well anyways, that's not what I'm here today to talk about. Nope, today I'm here to do a movie review on the Quintessential Quintuplets, the movie. Alright, now I do enjoy anime, but I am very unfamiliar with this series. I know that it's a manga, I know that there's an anime series on Crunchyroll, but I have never watched it. I'm not 100% up to date with all of my anime right now, to be perfectly honest. I've really fallen behind on what's out there. I don't know. I just really haven't been watching as much as I used to. I used to be a really big fan of anime. Well, Cowboy Bebop to this day is still one of my all-time favorite series, and Dragon Ball Z, things of that sort. I really enjoyed the more high adventure octane kind of stuff. And oh, by the looks of this trailer, this is not going to be one of those movies. This looks like, now I'm told it's not, but to me, watching the trailer for this film for the first time, it kind of looks like a harem comedy, which were really big back in the 90s. It's like a group of young women, normally in like a high school age setting, pining after one young man. Although this, from what I understand, is not like that. It's more of a drama series, maybe, coming of age kind of thing. But okay, cool, I'm up for whatever. I enjoy anime. Let's go check out something new. Now, like I said, this is based off the series, and I'm going into this completely blind, so hopefully this film doesn't have to have... hopefully you don't have to have a lot of knowledge of the series in order to enjoy this film. Now, there's been plenty of movies that I've seen that you may not know a dang thing about the series, but you still enjoy the movie. Most recently I can think of was Downton Abbey. Charming Amy is a big fan of Downton Abbey, and I honestly don't care. But she really wanted to go see the movie, and I'm like, sure, okay, whatever, I'm up for it. And you know what? I really enjoyed it without knowing anything about the series. So I'm really hoping that that's like this. And anime movies based off of series are generally like a side note type thing, so you don't really have to know a lot of background. Now, I do think, I'm not 100% on this, I do think that this is kind of a wrap up to the series. So even in that, just kind of tying up loose ends for characters, I might not need to have a lot of background on. So we're going to find out. Anyways, I'm going to go see the subtitled version. So I know, again, I have said in the past, I am not a fan of subtitles because I don't like trying to watch the movie and read at the same time. But in this situation, I don't have much of a choice, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, to be perfectly honest. Alright, well guys, enough of me talking. It's time for me to get out of here, hit the road, and check out the Quintessential Quintuplets, the movie. Welcome back. Just getting home, and I got my feelings about this movie. Now, I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm going to get into my mixed emotions on this film, but the first thing I want to do is kind of give a plot synopsis of this movie. I didn't really know a lot about it going into it. It is based off of an anime and a manga, but beyond that, I really didn't even know what the plot of the film was, except that it's about these quintessential quintuplets and some guy who they're in love with. So yeah, on its surface, that's what the movie's about. But there's a little bit more here. So the plot of this film is, yes, definitely a wrap-up story to the anime and manga series. And the story is not that hard to follow. And actually, that was something that was nice I was going to get to in the positives is that I didn't necessarily have to see the series in order to enjoy this film. Everything was pretty well explained in this movie. Now, anyways, the basic plot goes as this. It's the last few days of school, like the last few days of high school for these students. Now, there are these quintuplets, and they're the ones who the series center around. Well, now, they're in love with their tutor, and he has to make a choice by the end of this festival on which one of the sisters he's in love with. Now, alright, so typical love triangle? Parallelogram? Okay, whatever. Anyway, so all of these sisters and this one guy have to make a decision at the end of the school year. He has to make the decision at the end of the school year which one of these girls he wants to date and pursue a relationship. And they're all okay with this. They are all in love with him, but they love him in different ways, right? Okay, so that's the basic kind of plot of the story. Now, I'm going to go into the negatives on this film. The first thing I'm going to say is that this film is just over 2 hours long, and you definitely feel it. Now, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not a fan of the series, I haven't been with it since day one, but this movie really seemed to drag. Now, it did throw in a lot of background story for the characters into the film, and that's good because, like I said, I've never seen it, but then when you get to the big reveal on who he's in love with, the movie just keeps going, and you're just kind of like, okay, alright, okay. Now, I'm sure this is because, as I said, this is a wrap-up for a long-running, I think it might have 2 or 3 seasons, but anyways, an anime series and manga, and so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of loose ends that need to be tied up for all the characters. I get that, but dear God, it was like watching Return of the King again. It just kept going, and you're like, does this movie end? So that was a big negative for me. Another thing, now, like I said, this is definitely based off of the series. Now, there are some side characters in this film, and the one bad thing is that you can tell that there's definitely some history with these side characters, but none of that is brought up whatsoever. You're just like, okay, well, this is a friend, and that's pretty much all you need to know. But you can tell that there's definitely something deeper to these characters if you would have watched the series. Now, all of that is honestly some of the worst of it all. And that is too, one last thing too, and this isn't necessarily the film's fault, this is more of a personal preference. I am not a big fan of the teen drama, romance, comedy type things, okay? That's not my bag in anime, but I will say a positive about this is that I'm very happy to see films like this being released in theaters, you know, in Kansas City. So that is a good thing. I may not be a fan of this genre of anime, but I'm really excited to see something like this in theaters. Alright, so that really sums it up for the negatives on the film. Now let's go into the positives. Number 1, the animation is really well done. Nothing too stylized or anything crazy. It is definitely your typical anime style of art, but it's done very well. I was never at any point thinking that this looks, you know, reproduced or just thrown together or anything like that. There are a handful of funny moments. I did chuckle a couple of times, and generally, I don't find jokes all that funny in anime. I don't know, sometimes they don't land with me, but with this movie, there's a couple of good little snide comments that made me chuckle a couple of times. The story itself really isn't that bad. I did enjoy it. I liked the characters. I liked where things went. So, yeah, the story and the characters and all are pretty good. So, all in all, I think that if you're a fan of this anime or manga, this is definitely going to be a film for you. But for the rest of us, well, I don't really know. Unless you're, like I said, unless you're a fan of the series or a fan of anime in general, I don't think you're going to get a lot out of this film. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means it's not your thing. Alright, guys, well, that's all I got for you today. You know, if you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.